Welcome to Bullet Point. We are your host. I'm EP.
I'm JM.
Every week we're going to talk about competitive shooting and everything around it.
So if you're an aficionado, enthusiast, a beginner, or just curious, this is your show.
You can easily connect with us through PHLV Radio Facebook page, Bullet Point Facebook page, or simply email us at bulletpointmediaproduction@gmail.com.
Now, don't forget to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel so you'll be able to get the latest episodes of Bullet Point. Are you ready?
Stand by. All right, JM.
Yes.
How's everything?
Good.
You know, I had a good weekend, shooting weekend.
Yeah.
You
went to SUPS.
SUPS, yeah.
We went to NRG, our family and friends up there in California.
Was it good?
It was fun. It was fun.
Huh?
Trying to get settled in. It was 3 weeks off.
I know, right?
Without shooting, and then I got sick, and then now it's trying to get back behind
Well, you did
again.
a good job there.
No,
you ate everybody.
a little
Just
bit,
kidding.
a little bit rusty. A little bit rusty.
But you know, this is part 2 of last week. You know,
yes,
if
this
you-
is part 2.
If you guys love the recap of the 2025 World Shoot, I bet they're going to be loving it today as well.
Yes.
Tonight, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So we have a special guest.
We do. I dragged them. I dragged them out of the room.
There you go. While battling the jet lag. You know?
Right. Yeah. Just up there, just all cooled up. You know?
Oh my God. Okay, so I think it's you to introduce our special guest tonight.
Our 2025 World Shoot PCC Optics Junior Champion, none other than
Migz Valencia.
Yes.
Woohoo! Hey Migz, how are you?
Good, I'm great. Yeah,
Wow,
excited to be here.
And no, thank you to be here. You know? Thanks for being here with us. You know?
Gracing our presence. Your presence.
Yeah,
you know?
so me and your dad, we've been doing this for a couple of months now. You know,
Yeah.
it's just me and him talking.
I know, right? Yeah. No, EP's already tired of my face.
No, handsome face like that, I'm good. Well, Migz, it's really a pleasure, guesting here at Bullet Point. I know this is your show too, because guys, whenever JM is here, sometimes he's actually just at the background.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Just hanging out.
Just hanging out. Now you're the star of the show. But of course, who wouldn't be the star of the show, right?
Yeah, that's
so,
right.
2025, you said junior, PCC, junior,
PCC Optics.
PCC Optics. There you
junior world champion.
Yeah, because guys, just want to make sure that you understand there's optic division and the
There's
iron sight division.
There's iron
sights,
sights,
yep, mini rifle
and
as
then you
well.
have mini rifle.
There you go. And you do the optic side, right?
Yeah, PCC Optics.
PCC
Yes.
Optics. All right. I have a first question.
Yes.
Okay. How does it feel to be the junior world champion in PCC Optics? And has it sunk it yet to you? What a question,
I'd say,
right?
it feels good to earn that title.
Yeah.
I'm super happy with my performance and how the match went out. Super great experience, and I'd say it has sunk it in. Coming back here and seeing all the friendly faces again and all the congratulations, it felt really nice, and
That's good.
it was a good homecoming. Yeah.
And just on piggybacking on that, something that you guys both do not know. While you guys were shooting there,
I think I do. There's a couple of people that were so anxious and waiting for updates.
Exactly, especially your Uncle Miko.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna mention it.
Yeah.
So while we were shooting, this update, and everybody was just focusing on what's happening. you know? But everybody's of course rooting for you, and
thank you.
You really did a great job there, and everybody was just so proud of you. Well, whether you took the title or not, we already are proud of you. Just to make sure that you know that, right? And no pressure. Okay. So, but definitely you did a great job there. And where were you when you first found out that you got that title? Where were you? How's the scenario?
So, on our last day of shooting, which was Saturday, we shot 6:45 schedule. So it was our
That was
only.
rough.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was.
Was it dark or?
Actually, you know what? Surprisingly, it was bright over there in the
Wow.
morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
It's
the sun goes up at about 4:30 to 4:45. It's already up by
That's a
by
good
5
one.
o'clock. The sun's beaming out. Already.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's bright.
Wow, that's a good one.
But the
That's good to
6:45 was a rough start.
Remember when we were at Area 2 at 6:45? You said, okay.
Yeah, it's dark.
What time are we shooting, right?
It was like it's still pitch black outside, but no, over there we were driving to the range. It was like sunny outside.
Wow.
But yeah, so it was 6:45 on our last day, so we shot early.
Okay.
And the thing about that match is that it was super different from USPSA in a sense of how fast the match really went, because you don't reset, and you kind of just
you don't reset.
the RO. So there's 5 ROs on the stage.
What? Okay.
And once you're done shooting, and you they begin to score already as you begin to shoot to your final position, right?
Really?
So they're like doing the hand signals, 2 Alpha, Alpha Charlie, hand signals and all.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they reset it, and it felt super fast because the first day went by, and as soon as you're done shooting, and as soon as your team was done shooting, you have full green light to go to the next stage and watch.
Oh yeah, because somebody's doing it for you, right?
Well,
Right.
yeah. So to add to that, right, what he was saying is he hasn't even finished the last few arrays. They've already scored half of the targets.
Wow.
They're like, when you finish your shooting and you unload and show clear and do all that command and muzzle up, they're almost done with the last array of the targets.
Wow. Now it's
So
fast.
all you have to do, so you have to really designate somebody. If you want to verify the shot, you have to designate somebody from your team to look at the shots to make sure that the shots are
called
falling
correctly.
through and called correctly.
Wow.
So, and what he was saying is, even if the other people are still shooting, you can go to the other stage.
That's nice. Right?
Yeah.
Well, guys, that's work shoot for you. Right?
A little different,
So, and what was the first reaction when you knew that you got it? You know?
So like I said, we started super early,
Yeah.
and the match went by quick. So
Okay.
it was only about 3 hours of actual shooting.
That was the last day.
Yes.
Okay.
And after that, we hung around. We ran into some of the other U.S. Squads, the
Okay.
U.S. I believe, Optic. Or no, not Optic. I'm sorry, Iron overall team, along with
Okay.
the Optic overall team
Okay.
for PCC.
Wow.
And we kind of just hung there for a bit, just kind of chatting, and looking around, going to all the vendors, and then there is a stat shack there that has the live scoring.
Oh,
So-
do you have? Okay.
But that
Okay.
was the only form of live scoring for the entire match. Whether you were
Okay.
using the Practice Score app or not, it would take at least until, I'd say, dinner time for
The
scores
scores to be
roll in.
updated.
Ah.
So-
okay.
Yeah.
There's no live scoring, but the only live scoring is
Is
at the
the
stat
one
shack.
at the stat shack.
At the
range.
range. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so even if we wanted to look at the scores, it wouldn't make sense to until it was the very last shooter has hit approved.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we kind of just hung around there,
Yeah.
had some conversations,
Yeah.
looked
Then
at
we
proof
went back,
supports, and then we went back to the hotel.
We went back to the hotel.
Oh, you still had the time for that, right?
Yeah, we freshened up, and then what we did is we came back and we saw the last, like, Max and Pavel go
Yeah.
head to head
Good head to
in the
head, yeah.
afternoon because they shot in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And then after that, that's it. And then that's when we, he like ran to the stat shack, and the final scores were
pulled
there
up.
already.
Yep.
It's already there. It's already official.
So you saw it already,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What's the feeling when you saw it?
So funny enough,
Yeah.
I saw it the first time, right?
Okay.
And sometimes it would update, right? Because of course shooters are still shooting,
Yeah.
and they're gonna hit approve. It's gonna change.
That's right.
So I saw my score there, and then I stayed there for a good 5 minutes,
Okay.
just confirming, that my placement was really true, and it wasn't gonna
or the
change.
spelling of your name.
Yeah.
My mix sounds like more Czech, so there might be somebody has a name of mix there. But that's good, right?
But yeah, so I just waited there. I confirmed it, and as soon it was like, oh man, I won.
Yeah.
And that's kind of when it first hit me, and I was like, man, all the years of hard work, all the countless hours, blood, sweat, tears put into this, it paid off.
That's good.
And it felt like a weight has of course been lifted off my shoulders, because this was the goal for the last 4 years, and
Yeah.
ever since I've started, I've wanted a world title, and
And you got
now
it.
that I got it,
Yeah.
it's like it feels very relieving in a sense.
Yeah, maybe one thing that you need to understand too. Maybe you know this already. Of course, you know you're gonna hold that title.
Yeah.
You know, the first.
Yeah.
And
Until the next one.
No,
right?
I mean the first
Yeah.
to win the PCC 2025 World
First
Shoot.
ever.
Ever.
World
That's
Shoot,
it.
yeah.
Right.
Nobody's
Yeah.
gonna erase
PCC,
that.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's awesome. You know, and
Yeah.
I'm really really happy. You know, to hear that coming from you. Okay, so okay, I have this might be for both of you. Okay,
Right.
so you were saying about. For the last 4 years, you know, we waited for this, or you trained for this, blood, sweat, and tears. By the way, guys, you know, it just didn't happen. You know,
Right.
you know, a lot of effort and time.
Yeah.
Thousands and thousands of bullets and
Yeah.
hours was put into this just to make sure. that you
And
guys-
dollars.
and
dollars,
well, I'm
yes.
heading there. The dollars too. The kaching, right? So, this is actually a question for you guys. So, can you take us back to the very first competition that you did, and how did this journey start? You know.
So we'll rewind about 4 years.
Yes.
And funny enough, it is actually I'm coming on to my 4th year anniversary of shooting. Yeah. So I started
Wow.
2021, and I believe it was June as well. My dad brought me out to the range, of course, kind of because it was pandemic time, so I had nothing going on. Sports were canceled, school was online. I was basically just inside all day.
Okay.
And I wanted to do something and not just sit around. So my dad, who was shooting way before me, right?
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, come out to the range with me," and I was like, "All right, yeah, sure." So we came out. I saw people shoot. I saw the guns, and that's kind of where it sparked my interest to go into USPSA and shooting competitions.
So, why did you invite him?
No, it was a random. I think it was a random weekend. Miko and a couple, old friends were there, and we kind of there wasn't anything really to do there other than just let's shoot some stuff up basically. So we laid out the firearms and hey, try this, try open, try PCC, but it didn't really come to a form until I spoke to Miko.
Yeah.
And we wanted to see how he does on a competition setting. So it was his first match was actually Tropang Vegas, which is a shout out to Tropang Vegas for. They were still on the other side of Pro Gun.
Oh yeah, just on
the right hand side up there.
Yeah.
So when they had held one of their matches, we brought him in. At first, it was just like towards the end of it, when before they tear the stage down, and hey, let's
Can we
run
try?
this.
Okay.
Let me see. So that's when the rifle was an MPX at that time. It was so big, and you couldn't even rack it.
I remember I was about shoulder height. So I was still super short.
By the way, that was 4 years ago. So you were like 11, 10,
Yeah,
11?
I was 11. Yes.
Guys,
And
this dude here is a kid, okay? All right.
I remember the rifle was like as big as my torso.
Okay.
And it was so heavy I couldn't bring it up to my shoulder and rack the bolt.
Oh,
I had
wow.
to place it on my hip and then
Be able to rack it.
Yeah.
And then it would malfunction.
It would malfunction, and then so
And
I'd
then-
have to be like,
and then Miko would be the one
Fixing
clearing it
it.
for him, and then giving it back.
Yeah,
and
hand
then
up.
running it.
Oh wow! You
So-
know that age, like 10, 11.
Yeah.
The kids are playing video games. So
Yeah.
you're playing real gun. And then after that day, did you tell yourself like, oh yeah, this is the game for me?
I think it took like 3 matches to be like, I want to do this because it's fun, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And that was as simple to me as I put it for myself back then. It's fun, right? But when I started attending level 1s, level 2s, level 3s, that's really when he sat me down and said, what do you want to do in this sport? And I remember it, and I said I wanted to be the greatest PCC shooter.
Wow.
So that's always been a goal of reaching the top in the fastest way.
Wow. And you did, you know?
Yeah.
You did.
Still
And,
long, yeah.
by the way,
still
he
a long
also,
ways to go.
correct me if I'm wrong, he still holds the title of the youngest USPSA
PCC to turn grandmaster.
Grandmaster, right?
Yeah.
At the age of 13?
13, yes.
There
Yeah.
you go. So you got
We
two
wanted,
titles, right?
yeah, we wanted that. Pretty bad. So he turned 13, and he got the title. That was December.
December.
I
Yeah.
remember, and then
Yeah.
and then you got the GM title. So it's a fast process to some,
Yeah.
but for us there wasn't any easy way to do it. He had to go through a lot, and it's still going through.
And that's a
lot
goal
of
that you
training.
actually put into your mind that you
Yeah.
had to work on. You know, so going back to that premise, right? You know, your dad was the one who pushed you to be in the shooting sport.
Yep.
But who inspired you to stay in the shooting sport, or maybe in PCC? You could have done the handgun,
Right.
So why PCC? You know, so I know he's the one that pushed you to be in that shooting sport. But who inspired you to stay there?
I would also say it would be my dad,
Okay.
who kept me there
Yes.
and helped me develop to a point where it's like, all right, there's potential here.
Okay.
Because I tried out the PCC. I really liked the PCC mainly because I've always had that muscle memory of having a rifle.
Yeah.
Because way before the competition days, whenever we'd go out just to the desert or the range.
we go out to Sloan,
Yeah.
and I'd bring him
Sloan,
out.
huh?
Yeah, he'd bring out a couple
He
of
would,
rifles.
I'd bring a couple ARs, and
Yeah,
and
and
he would
yeah.
always. I bought him a 22 AR, 22 long
I
rifle
remember that, yeah.
AR, and then he would just like go for. I'd buy a brick, which is like
1,000
rounds.
That's right.
Yeah, 1,000 rounds of 22.
And we'll
Uh-huh.
spend 2-3 hours, and he'll just like
Yeah.
play around with. The
Actually, that's a good
point.
one. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
22.
Yeah, I've always had a like fascination towards a rifle.
Yeah.
Pistols.
Yeah. You tried pistols.
I
right?
have.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
rifles is my main focus.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's it. So the dad and the dad, right?
Yeah,
so
the me and the me.
But really, the huge factor is going to be your dad. Not only that he's a shooter, your grandfather is actually a
Yeah.
shooter.
Right. Yes.
You know, so that it runs in the family.
Right.
The passion in
Right.
shooting has
Yeah.
been there. So
Yeah.
it runs in your blood, man. So
Yeah.
okay, let's look into the competition. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yes.
you were in the competition. What was the mindset heading into the world shoot? You know, like your dad said, "Okay, yeah, we're gonna go world shoot." What was the mindset? You know, did you feel like you were ready for it?
So when we got the news about the delegation, which was about
so they chose you to be.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
that's how it worked.
December.
Okay,
was-
sorry.
yeah, December was really when I actually remember December 24
Okay.
is when they put
Christmas,
the official
Wow.
the official match list out,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
at least delegation list for the U.S. and I was selected on there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had this months in advance
Okay.
to really prepare both mentally and physically.
Okay.
And going into the match, I'd say about 6 months, right?
Yeah.
It was more of practicing regular local matches,
Right,
of course.
right.
But
so
then,
we only had December was prior to that
list.
we had the hunch already.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And that was what the rumblings about that we
You
wanted.
feel like you're gonna be
Right?
part of it.
Right.
yeah,
So- so
we
sometime-
had a hunch, or
Okay.
we already knew.
Yeah.
Okay.
That,
So
But not official.
Not
You know?
officially,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So officially, the list came out December, but sometime around November, December, when we started to really, hey, there's a goal in May. You know, there's a goal in May, and that's World Shoot. So
Okay.
we have to develop a plan how to get there and
Yeah.
how to get there prepared.
Of
You know,
course,
so
yeah.
it's a a solid 6-month training plan
Okay.
for him.
Oh, by the way, I not just training and shooting, physically
Yes,
preparing
right.
too.
Yeah,
right?
that was a
part
big
of it
part.
too.
Yep.
That was a big part of it too.
Yeah.
So we have to change the diet. We have to change the food. We have to change the because he was going to school at that time still. Okay. So keep in mind, he's
that's
full-time.
right.
He's a full-time student at his school. Compared to the other shooters that does this for a living and trains every day.
That's
right?
Of course,
so
that's a huge difference there.
Yeah, we don't have the luxury of going out to the range whenever we want, night or day.
That's right.
So we only really had practice at the end of the week or during the weekend.
Yeah,
that's good.
Which is
that's
the matches that we attend.
Well, because of school, definitely, right?
Yeah, of course,
so
yes.
yeah, a lot of it too during the school week, right? The weekday is from our discussions in the previous episodes. A lot of dry fire, a lot of
those are
mental
important things,
preparations.
right?
I think those are the core fundamentals that will help
to keep it.
Yeah, that will help you prepare for that.
If you invest a lot in your basics, it's going to take you a long way. Yeah.
Guys, take note of that, okay? Coming from a champ. Okay, so, but did you feel that you're ready to win it all? You're heading to the competition. I got this. So,
I would say heading into the match itself, it was different.
Okay.
I took it as if, you know how other Olympic athletes, right? They take it piece by piece, day by day.
Correct.
They don't think of it like a week from now, or a week before.
Yeah.
They're in the present.
Okay.
And they focus on what they can control the day of.
Wow.
Not what's before that or after. So that was kind of my mindset going in.
Okay.
I can control what I can control, and I can shoot what I shoot.
Okay.
If anything other than that, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you take one stage at a time.
Yep. Right. So the mentality going into that is you focus on the present.
Okay.
So what I meant by that is you focus on that stage only.
Don't think nothing else matters.
Don't think about the previous one. It's gone.
Yep.
It's done.
You
You already hit approved.
Whether you aced it or
right.
you
or
burned,
you bombed it.
Yeah, you bombed it.
You already hit approved. It's done. Right?
That's it. Yeah.
You can't change it.
And you can't think of the
That's
next
a very powerful mindset. I like that.
So
that's good.
just devote it. You have to have an on and off switch in your mind, where you have to be able to tune out and filter out everything except for that stage or that moment alone. So if you devote 10 minutes of that particular stage, how are you going to execute it? And tune everything out.
Yeah.
And then just focus on that. And that was the mental part of the preparation.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's how it should be, right?
Because I would also add on that you also got to think about you're the one who has the gun and you're pulling the trigger.
That's right.
Not anyone else.
Not anyone else.
So
That's
you're the
correct.
one who's setting the shots downrange.
Yeah.
Not anyone else. So why think about other shooter scores?
And you're the one in control.
When
of
you're the
that. I
one,
like that.
when you're the one in control of how you do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Love it. Thanks for that mindset.
Yeah.
Speaking about stages, right?
Yeah.
So on stages, of course, what stage or what moment in that competition really stood out, or maybe really challenged you the most? When just asking that question, what stage stood out?
I'd say stage 18. So stage 18 was there was only like 4 targets that was like probably 10 yards away, and then the rest of the targets were all 50 yards or more. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Are you kidding me? 50 yards?
Yeah, 50
I never
yards.
even shot 50 yards. Okay.
So I think the entire delegation, of course, that was the biggest thing, was just focusing on, or at least expecting, far shots. So I'd say that's, of course, the most looked at stage.
Yeah.
I remember there's
50
also
yards.
Yeah, that's far.
4 mini poppers, also 50 yards out.
Mini poppers, 50 yards.
Yeah.
I know
Okay.
that stage.
Okay, go to work, you guys, okay?
I know that stage because it will dictate and see where everyone's going to be at, and that's the turning point. If you look
Really,
at it,
huh?
if you look at the world shoot as a racetrack. That's the turning point for the shooters.
The sharp
So
curve, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
To him to add to what he's saying, the stage 18 for him was, hey, this is if we're behind and you shoot this pretty well, we're going to be ahead. If you're ahead, you're going to pull
it's
away.
a stage of make it break it.
Yeah,
Huh?
you're going to pull
Yeah,
away.
wow.
You're going to pull away.
It's also it's another like the term zero or hero stage.
Wow.
Because you can do, I would say that if you did it really well, you're going to keep your points for that stage. But there's also a really good chance that
It's a high
if you
chance.
shoot really bad on that stage, your score is going to
You're
drop
gonna drop, yeah.
significantly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because, guys, remember, it is an IPSC target and it's color white
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
the 50-yard.
50, yeah, 50
all
yards
all
out.
papers are white, basically.
So,
Yeah.
wow, that's
And-
tough, huh?
Yeah.
How did you do? Oh, well, I got it. I got it.
I was lucky. I was fortunate enough to get all my hits.
Okay.
I had no deltas on that stage.
Wow.
So I was able to keep my hits tight.
Yeah.
Only, I believe, 2 reconnects on the steel.
Okay.
But other than that, it was a solid stage. Yeah.
Hey, look at me. What? Reconnect and steal?
you know. So speaking of the stages,
Yeah.
like all of the stages, 30 stages,
Yeah.
right? So the before he even shot his first shot, and I pulled him aside to say, hey, we're gonna take it stage by stage, right? And then we're gonna take it and let's just focus today. There's only
Wow,
one day
yeah.
today, right? However, every single time that we're gonna be able to shoot, and you're gonna step up and prepare for that particular stage, everything's 100%. Like speed, splits, everything,
Aggression.
aggression, your movement, everything's got to be 100%. I hear, I hear people like different countries, and different people. I'm just sitting there and be like, oh, this is the stage I can kind of take it easy, and then the next stage I can step on the gas
Wow,
pedal.
that's a good mindset right
So,
there. Yeah.
you can't.
100% always.
If that's their style of shooting and they know exactly where they place on the standing, great.
Yeah.
That's you do you basically.
Yeah.
But for him, it has to be full throttle every single time.
That's a good mindset. Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a good one, boss. So, what was the biggest strength that that going to this match that you have?
I'd say one of the biggest strengths would probably be that. So there's the different types of stages in IPSC. You have the short round, or you have the short, medium, and long. There's this thing that the U.S. delegation would kind of call it. They would call it as if it was like an American stage, because it would be
All right.
It's like running and
running.
gunning.
It's like it's like run and gun.
Yeah.
There's targets, and it's more of like how USPSA kind of
the
does
fast
stages.
ones.
Yeah. Yeah, fast.
Okay. That's an advantage?
That's kind of where
Yeah.
an advantage would probably pop up at, mainly because we're used to seeing stages like that,
Okay.
and kind of just like being able to be like, all right, I can attack this as if it was a USPSA match.
That's new to me.
Yeah.
But that's good to know.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
No,
and-
there are stages that are designed like that. So to his build and speed, he can really gun
Push
it
the
down
gas,
right?
yep.
and run
Yeah.
it.
Well, of course,
get-
I could see how you do it. So,
and then get his points and time too.
wow, that's a good one. So, but that's an advantage. But what was the biggest fear on that competition?
I mean, granted, the biggest fear, of course, would be getting DQ'd.
Yeah.
that'd be the
The ultimate,
the worst fear.
Yeah, imagine like, oh my goodness. I know that's not the some of the mindset that shooters would have is don't think about the DQ or whatever. But if
Well,
you
this
think
is
of
world
it-
shoot.
right?
Yeah, that's always a
yeah.
factor.
And there
There's
were
no way around
some
it.
DQs.
Yeah.
And
there were?
the team,
Yeah.
the U.S. team.
Unfortunately,
Yeah. We had like three.
Yeah,
we had three in the
DQs
U.S.
delegation.
So
I hope that was not the first day in the first stage.
there were like the second day.
Second day,
That's good.
And
then
there
I
are
think fourth or maybe.
and then
something.
and then there's other DQs like breaking 180s and 80s and all that.
Yeah.
Usually 80s. on
Guys,
the
we
reload
talked
and all
about
that.
a lot of those, the
Yeah,
180s.
we did,
Can
we
you
did.
imagine that, right?
Yeah.
Or the 80s, it
Yeah.
happens really. But wow, in World Shoot, that's gonna kind of
Well,
really hurt.
it
you.
will because
Yeah.
because you've traveled thousands of miles away.
Yeah.
You've
invested
spent
a lot of time,
a lot of money
resources.
and time and training for you. Now your sightseeing in Czech Republic will be longer.
I know, right? Well, I'm gonna go Austria first. So I know we talked about the turning point. So was there a turning point in the match where you felt I can win this?
I'd say a turning point would probably be the last 2 days of the shoot.
Okay.
Because that's really where you're going to see where your standings fall into place.
Okay.
Whether you're on route to the first place, second place, or third, or if you're going to have to like really push it to place, podium. I'd say that it was really those last 2 days that kind of shaped where
you stand.
You would stand.
The first day, how many stages in the first day?
It was
six.
six.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Six
you kind of
stages.
feel it already,
Yeah.
huh?
Mhm.
Okay.
It's 5 days of shooting, 6 stages.
Yep.
Oh, that's right.
But see, what he was saying is obviously the first couple days, everything is skewed off because
Okay.
the
Someone-
other side,
someone
the
could
other
be-
side are shooting short stages,
Right.
and you shot
Oh,
long.
it's
so
it's
so
so
you're
bad.
going
It's
to
a risk. Yeah, you
there's no
just can't-
balance.
Yeah,
you
I
can't
remember
see it.
that.
You can't.
I
see it.
remember that kind of.
Yeah.
I'm shooting first day, but
Yeah, and
hey,
like,
the stages are not equal to the second.
No.
And
second
each
day.
each day they all had a different round count. So
So it's
Yeah.
tough.
everything was skewed.
Although you
until
felt
the
it,
last
huh?
2 days.
You
Yeah.
felt the confidence. Sometimes I'm like that.
Yeah.
In my first few stages,
Yeah.
I'm shooting
yeah.
something
Yeah.
kind of, I'm acing it, something
Yeah.
like that, right? So good. So okay, so let's talk about the gears.
Yeah.
I love talking about gears.
Yes,
so
me
let's
too.
talk about that. We love this one. So what setup did you use for the world shoot?
So-
Guns, optics,
Yeah.
ammos. You can.
So running through my rifle build, I used a JP5, the competition.
Yeah.
I had that put with a. Mainly, I had that paired with a Holosun Ronin Ames Max.
Okay.
I chose that optic mainly because it was a 2 MOA.
Oh.
And
I
with
love 2
those
MOAs.
with those long shots,
Yeah, you
that
need
dot
it.
was super crisp and tight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not only that, we had 2 days of shooting where it was raining on us.
Oh,
So yeah.
I was there. Wow.
And one of those was like heavy rain, so it didn't stop drizzling.
Okay.
And the good thing about that is that since it's an enclosed optic,
Yeah.
there's no way for rain
Yeah.
to get into
Wow.
the
Fog. How about
yeah,
fog?
No,
projector.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
And it doesn't fog.
Go to the
Projector.
emitter, the projector.
Wow.
So whether it was raining or not, my optic stayed bright, and I was happy of how it performed.
Wow. And I think I remember you changed that a few months before World Shoot, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. Holosun was gracious enough to send him, but also it's comforting to know that Team JP was there.
Yes.
As not only as a vendor, but also the support for the JP shooters
Yeah.
that was on the U.S.
What
delegation.
do you call this? I know JP is there. What add-on were they able to help you on?
So I heard roughly there was about 300 shooters who had a JP rifle, and
Okay.
JP was gracious enough to aid every single one of those shooters
Yeah.
in
Okay.
terms of getting their rifle, looking at it, opening it up, right, and changing. Like, oh, we put in a new firing pin, firing
Can
pin
you do
spring.
that?
Like a pit stop.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like a
It's
pit stop.
It's like a
Wow.
pit stop.
Exactly
Yeah.
like a pit stop.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
see.
Ejector spring,
Yeah.
and then they even like check the bolts for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, they did that, and it came in a lot of help.
Can you imagine the confidence of JP
Yeah.
doing that, changing it? For me, if my gun is working perfectly, and
Yeah.
okay, please don't touch it.
Right, right.
But with the confidence of JP just
Yeah.
doing that, okay, well, I changed it all like this,
Yeah.
and then it still performed.
Right, right.
My rifle ran
Wow.
flawlessly, zero malfunctions, zero any like hiccups.
How many
at all
stages?
on all 5 days, all 30
30
stages
stages. Wow.
throughout rain,
Yeah.
dust.
That's
No,
impressive.
that's super impressive. I've seen the rifles, some of the rifles the old ones, the present ones, and the up and coming brands. I've seen them malfunction 1 or 2 times, even in our squad.
Yeah.
And I've seen them, but the JP platform was really solid out there.
Super reliable for me.
So you paired the JP5 paired with the Holosun.
Yep.
And what was your ammo?
What was
The
your
ammo was Supervel's ammo made specifically for the U.S. delegate and the U.S. delegate only.
Oh,
so
wow.
they used their a 124 load.
Okay.
And Mike was the entire U.S. delegation thanks Mike for that because Mike Stoker from Supervel.
Yeah.
Because he went
Kudos,
out of his
Mike.
he went out of his way to develop a load for U.S. shooters, so we don't have to worry about how we're gonna source ammo.
Wow.
Yeah. That load was 2 types of loads, right? Because of its 2 different platforms.
Yeah, he made 2 different types of loads for 2 different rifles.
Wow.
Whether it was like a blowback or if it was the roller delayed system. And that's just...
Both ran fine, by the way. And then also, it just didn't come to fruition, but they pulled every single efforts. Because the original plan was to load a pallet up and send it to Czech Republic.
So if they send it, that takes a long while.
Well,
It was months-
this
it was
was
months in
around
advance.
January, February.
That's what I'm thinking.
So, but you know, and nothing that was done negatively on the U.S. side, but it's on the receiving side.
Yeah.
There was a lot of
That's where,
paperwork,
a lot of
conflict,
paperwork,
back and forth. But yeah.
and back and forth stuff. But that was how Supervel and Mike and his team really wanted to push this to support the U.S.
They went
team.
through that.
They went through everything.
The
hurdles.
Yeah,
huh?
the entire U.S.
Kudos
the
to
entire
Supervel.
U.S. team thanks Mike and the team's efforts for that because without it, it would have been
tough.
it would have been super difficult.
Yeah. I think, and because keep in mind, if you didn't, we're only allowed if you and I were having talks of this to shoot Extreme Euro next week.
Okay.
Next year. Right?
Oh, we got to go there.
So you and I will go. However, the logistics of bringing a firearm plus ammo. Keep in mind, World Shoot was under 600 rounds, and your airline can only allow you 11 kilos, which is 400 rounds.
400. Wow.
So you would have to source, if you're the only shooter and only one traveling, you would have to source the other rest of your ammo.
That's going to be tough
elsewhere.
too.
Yeah.
So
either
that was tough.
either that or you're gonna have to buy the match
you're going to
ammo.
have to buy the match ammo.
Yeah.
You know?
that's which is not what I'm going to do.
Right. So yeah.
All right. That's good to know, right? So JB5 is so it's very supportive.
Yeah, they
Supervel.
Right.
Yeah.
JP5 was really the team. Dustin, Andre.
Yep.
Everybody.
Kudos
up
to you
there.
guys.
and
Trinity and so they had a booth there. They had a spot there for the vendor booth, but they were easily accessible if we had any questions, and even to the point where they were going out and say, hey, let me check your rifle, let me make sure everything's good, and that really helped a lot of shooters, and even other countries. They would stop there. They'll buy a part and they'll install it.
Yeah.
So they really did an extra mile out of that, and also not just JP but other manufacturers like Da Vinci. Da Vinci brought out rifles for another country just to.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
That's a good. That's good. Can you imagine that support?
Yeah.
Wow. That's massive.
David, he brought like 20 rifles.
25 rifles for
over
the Canadian
25.
team because the Canadians couldn't shoot because of the gun ban that Trudeau enforced. So they would come here to the U.S. to train and then fly back. So to support that, he brought out some rifles for them. So it's really a community effort.
That's
for all shooters. It doesn't matter what brands you represent or
all the shooters all the shooters are trying to lift each other up.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a community, right?
Yeah.
So it's good. Well, okay. I love that. So JP5 helped you a lot, Hollison, and with Super Val, so you're complete.
Yeah. I'm super thankful for this.
You know what's missing? Dad. So
lifetime sponsor.
the lifetime sponsor, right? So I want to thank my sponsor, Dad. All right, for the last 4 years. Okay, so how many rounds were you shooting to lead up to that championship?
So going back to like the 7 to 6 months out, it would just be local matches,
Okay.
right? But then from that, from the rest of the time, like the 5 months to the shoot,
Yes.
we really upped it up more, upped all the practices, the off range, or rather on range actually, practices outside of matches, whether we're going to like Sloan, BRPC,
Okay.
just training distance, short courses, whatever. That's really when we kicked it up an entire new notch.
Yeah,
Okay.
close to. I would say if I were to put a number, it would be close to about 800 to 1,000
Rounds.
around rounds a week now
A week.
that he was doing. He was
Yeah.
burning out before World Shoot.
Wow.
Because we would incorporate a couple practices in the middle of the week.
Okay.
And then we'd do the Saturday Sunday shoot.
Okay.
From
Right,
our
that's
local
exactly
matches.
that's what I want our the listeners to picture. What does a typical training week look like? Live fire, dry fire, mental preparation, or physical preparation. How does it look like to prepare for that? We were talking about 6 months training here, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
So, the typical week would
Yeah.
look like dry fire every single day,
Okay.
and then about three gym sessions a week. whether
gym
it's-
sessions, okay.
Lifting, of course, running,
Okay.
and then, of course, we have the matches on the weekend.
Okay.
That's where we shoot. That's where we practice, and then other than that, it's just the diet, exercise. It's
Okay.
just everything repeats and stays consistent.
For the last
Yeah.
6 months of training. That's good.
and not it's even beyond that. That's his routine. That's his.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think, if I remember correctly, ever since summer of 2023, I've been doing the same routine.
Wow.
Yep.
So it's not just we're gonna be shooting World Shoot tomorrow.
Right. Yeah.
No. I didn't practice tonight.
Well, so this is the thing, bro. You're 15 years old. He's 15 years old. How do you handle pressure? Especially on high stakes stages where everything is on the line, like that stage 14 or 18.
Yeah.
Because that's the sharp curve. That's what we're talking about. So, how do you handle that pressure? Or did you even feel pressure on that time?
I wouldn't say I felt pressure.
Okay.
No. So I've kind of rewired my brain to think as if pressure isn't real.
Okay.
It isn't real.
Okay.
It's not something you can grab out of the air.
Okay.
It's just something that you think about.
Okay.
And to me, I don't think that way. I don't think pressure exists at all.
Okay. That's a good mental practice.
If I'm on the line, I'm loading McReady. It's here. It's right now. Whether it's a tiebreaker or I'm in the lead, I will shoot 110% best of my abilities. So that's kind of where it sprouted out from. So I wouldn't say I felt pressure at all.
Okay.
It's more of I have a job. I know what I need to do. How do I do it?
Perfect. I actually love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think when you say handling pressure, pressure exists in our sport.
Yeah.
Pressure exists because you didn't properly train.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
So
That's
if
a
you
good
didn't,
thing.
you didn't have, we talk about this every single,
Yeah.
almost every single episode we have. If you didn't have enough dry fire, if you didn't
Yeah.
have enough live fire, if
Exactly.
you didn't practice drawing, if you didn't practice sight picture, pressure will exist there.
Yeah,
Correct.
Because you're unsure of your shooting capabilities.
Exactly. I love those. Thanks for the mindset. So you heard that. You heard them, guys. So, but some people do visualization. We're in the line. They have this performance routines.
Yeah.
They have mental cues. It's
Right.
like what you're saying. You may be telling yourself, pressure is not real. That's a mental cue
Right.
too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or during your run, do you talk to yourself? I know your dad because
Yeah.
whenever I do, he does those.
Whenever
you
he
know?
ROs behind me. Yeah.
Okay, now I know he's ready, right? So what's yours?
So I talk to myself on the range a lot.
Yeah, self-talk, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
whether I'm like walking a stage, I'm like, all right, I'll shoot this steel here. I'll take this paper. I'll go like, ba-bam, ba-bam. I always make the little
right?
the gun
cadence,
noises,
right?
ba-bam, ba-bam,
Yeah.
bing, bing. You
Yeah,
like that.
that's right. That's your mental cues, right?
Yeah,
So-
it's kind of.
yeah.
I'm kind of just like telling myself and speaking it into existence.
Yeah.
And being like, all right, I'll take this here. I'll take that on this
Yeah.
side. But not only that, whether it was the shooting part or it's the mental part, I always kind of keep myself in check, and I always remind myself what my goal is.
That's awesome.
So, like, let's say a shooter just shot. I'm on deck. I'm doing my final walkthrough. I talk to myself and being like, all right, make it happen. Now's the time. No
Yeah.
pressure. Shoot.
Wow. So those are self-talk, guys.
Yeah, yeah.
But speaking about, I wanna get that part that when you said about walkthrough, right? So, what's the process on your walkthrough? You know, the first time, because I think I understand we only have like 4 minutes. How many minutes?
IPSC
No,
actually
it's 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. This
Short-
USPSA,
it's shorter.
right? Yeah,
Only
shorter.
3.
3 minutes,
Yeah.
right? So. That's kind of fast for the number of,
Yes, number of
shooters,
shooters.
right? Okay.
Yes.
I know you have to walk through. So, what are you looking for the first time you walk through?
So a thing I noticed about IPSC stages and that match itself, there wasn't a lot of moving and shooting. Everything was like kind of like position based and stationary in a sense.
Okay.
So like, all right, I'll run to point, or I'll start in point A, take 3 targets. I'll run to point B, take 2.
Okay.
So it wasn't a whole lot of, all right, I can, as I'm walking up the course, I can take left and then I'll take the right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It was kind of like a Rubik's Cube of, all right, what position and what array fits it best.
Okay. So that's the first thing that you're looking for. Your first point to the second point,
Yeah.
or how many stops you're going to be doing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
How many
It-
stops,
it's,
where the targets are.
Yeah, it's so I actually like the process because IPSC is very strict
Okay.
on the walkthrough.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone is only given a specific amount, a short period of time, which is 3 minutes,
Yeah.
roughly, averagely. And once that's done, everybody goes behind, the area, and then the first shooter's up. Now,
Yeah.
if you're the next shooter on deck, you only have one final walkthrough that you can do,
Which is 30 seconds.
which is probably roughly 30 seconds.
and anything above that, they'll actually like
yeah.
they'll stop you and then they'll point
they'll
and be
point,
like, oh,
go
go
to
to
your-
go to your starting position.
You're destroying
Yeah.
my mental preparation.
No, so it
But
has.
that's how it is.
That's-
You know,
yeah, that's
I
how it is
really
for
wish.
everyone.
I really wish we could adapt that here in the USPSA style. You know, we do like. The walkthrough like 2
discipline,
3
right?
minutes, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's still kind of loose.
You
But
know,
then,
I
yeah,
remember
also,
when we do local matches, we take an hour walking. Yes, you were saying. Sorry.
But also, in USPSA matches, I also saw the comparison to it was that in IPSC, if you're not the on-deck shooter and someone just shot, there's no way you're going to be able to do another walkthrough.
Yeah.
Because in USPSA, you see like
Everybody's
you can see,
doing
like,
it.
you can see like 2 or 3
Yeah.
people doing the same walkthrough
Same
while
walk.
everyone's taping, right?
Yeah.
But IPSC, no. You shoot,
Yeah.
get off of the course. Next person's up. Do your final walkthrough, and it's just that and over and over and
Yeah.
over until the squad's done.
You know. In fact, we were talking about that.
Right.
I hope we can have more
Yeah.
basic
Yeah.
competition
style,
here.
Yeah.
based
Here in the
and
US,
rules.
you know?
Yeah, because it helps shooters whenever we go
The discipline,
international.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're more prepared.
Yeah.
Right,
know?
exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, I thought it was 4 minutes. No, it's 3 minutes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Welcome to
Yeah.
IPSC.
And no, even there's some cases where you only get 2 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
so
yeah.
if U.S. shooters are able to actually start implementing IPSC matches at their local clubs,
Yeah.
then if they go into the international level,
Yeah.
they're ready for it.
Exactly.
Or they
I
at least
definitely
know what
agree
they're
with that,
getting
yeah.
into.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. So let's talk about the international scene. You know, off camera a while ago, you were talking about, hey, we're gonna go to Street Euro next year.
Yes, we are.
And then, it's international, representation. So how did it feel, to represent your country on a global stage and to win at that?
Yeah.
So, I feel as if there was a lot of pride.
I love it.
Yeah.
A sense of a deep pride because I'm not only representing USA, but I'm also representing our shooting family up in California, Utah, Arizona, and everywhere else. Philippines, of course, Maryland. So, and not only that, but also the family name Valencia, because. Like you said, my grandfather also has been shooting IPSC. He's been to 2, I believe, world shoots. So he shot world shoot, and now I'm shooting a world shoot. So I'm carrying that same name decades later in an entirely new
platform.
Platform.
And to add it up, and you won.
No, I think overall even if I was we were a chaperone and a support for Migz.
That's huge.
It was even on the even just wearing the jersey. And we're doing the parade, the opening parade.
Oh, I could imagine that.
It was like goosebumps. I've never.
Do you have
felt
videos of that? We don't, right?
We'll get that all squared away. But the parade itself, the opening ceremony, even the closing ceremony, and then all of the winners that would get to step on that stage and then play the national anthem.
The national anthem that was
crazy.
Goosebumps.
I felt
crazy.
It felt there's a different feeling of that because the first anthem, it kind of really hit because it was like the U.S. anthem would play.
There you
right?
go. Look at this. What is this?
That's the stage where the shooters would step up on. So it would be projected. It would show the flag, the name, or whatever division they're shooting, right? So there's just a huge sense of pride there, especially when I was able to step up there, hold the U.S. flag.
I like that picture that you had. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good photo.
It was super. It was unforgettable.
And in overall, we talked about how the shooting community as a whole supports each other. You connect new. You have new connections now. You get
new
to
relationships,
new friends, right? And he was able to talk to different juniors from other countries.
I actually love that moment. You exchange jerseys.
I exchanged jerseys with a Czech shooter, Martin. I believe the last name is pronounced Ketch.
Yeah, something like that.
Some Czech Ketch. Something.
And Sri Lanka, Team Sri Lanka as well. Shot with the US.
We were squatted together.
Yeah,
so
they were all squatted together. And they exchanged jerseys. And even the little souvenirs and trinkets that you exchange to each other,
little
countries and other
stickers
ROs as well.
That's the moment. I mean, look at this picture. This is what you're saying. Look at that. The flag that you're carrying. That's a lot of sense of pride in there than when you're mentioning. So and then I know we talked about how your family has supported you. Because I see how your dad has been supporting you. But what was the support like by the national team?
There was a lot of support, and I'm thankful for them always supporting me and having my back. Especially when they called my name up for the first place, right? Hearing the stadium in a sense roar.
Wow!
It felt very it felt very very meaningful.
Yes.
Because it's like these people support me, I know them, they know me. Just being from ground zero to where I am now. I remember, bro. When everything was finalized. You know what Miko said? Your uncle Miko said, "It's all worth it, man."
You know,
It was, you know, even so the national team consisted of delegates also that are behind the scenes, like Leighton,
Marquetta,
you know,
also helped a lot,
right?
yeah.
But on the U.S. side,
like Jim Boone,
right, Jim Boone, and everybody in the
Troy.
Troy was also a big help. So
Yeah.
there's a core people that really help the delegate, and even the logistics of the airlines, the coordinations of paperwork.
the paperwork was a big part.
The paperwork was a big
because,
part,
like,
you know.
that was like the first time flying international with
Yeah, with all
firearms.
firearms. Right.
So that was that was a big thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And Leighton, Jim Boone,
So
John
the
Mick.
way they set it
Yeah.
up, is they set specific conference calls to go over the basic paperwork.
Yeah,
stuff.
monthly calls.
Okay.
Like weekly, and
Weekly,
then,
actually,
and
yeah.
then it became monthly. But there are certain topics that you have to pay attention on how to start the paperwork process
Wow.
for the check.
Well, guys, it's
you know.
it's really tedious. but,
It
you
is.
know.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
But again, to your point, at the end of the day, it's all worth it. Once we came back, it was all worth it.
It's
you
well
know?
worth it, man. So I remember exactly how Miko told me that. Worth it, bro. You know. So okay. So I know you got you're in your squad. There's Sri Lankan there. You know, Czech on your squad. Were you able to connect with the shooters from other countries?
A lot of that would yes. Especially the shoot off.
I love to talk about that shoot off. Okay, okay, you answered that. Let's go to the shoot off. I'm just kidding. Okay,
But no, the shoot off, that was kind of where everyone could really gather
Yeah.
around.
okay.
That's
Yeah.
like one
It's
of the
more of
only,
like a hangout,
That's one of the
you
only
know?
times all of the shooters were really
that's
together
really fun,
and
huh?
not like on one range entirely, or like they're on stage 18 and they're on someone else is on stage 1. So everyone was kind of in one place. So
Are
it was
you gonna
it was
win
nice
anything from
to,
the shoot off or?
Yeah, he won. He won a medal.
A medal. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
I was able to take
So
a
you
medal.
gathered together. Okay.
And it was just saying like, hi, how'd you do on the match?
Maybe
stuff like
Facebook
that.
change. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
You know, hey, I've been through Facebook. I
Right.
don't know.
Follow Instagram. Or
Instagram.
whatnot,
Yeah,
you
I'm
know.
too old for.
You know, it's
okay.
it's fun to see because during that shoot off, once we were done, we were kind of looking around, and some of the shooters go up to their people that they admire and follow on
that's
social
good.
media. They get their photos, their jerseys, and
Yeah.
they get their autographs. So that was one cool thing that we were able to see. You know,
What's well? You mentioned about shoot off already, but are there any other memorable stories off the range?
There's a lot of team dinners.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
This is the shoot off.
yeah, that is a shoot off.
Yeah, you can see Tom Castro there getting some coverage.
Yeah, Tom got a lot of
footage.
Look at all the people that are watching.
So yeah, everyone is literally
Yeah.
in one place, and
That's what
they're
you're saying.
Watching, yeah.
I bet this is memorable, but you know, I mean,
Yeah.
so you're shooting off with whom here?
I believe this was one of the Ukrainian junior shooters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you see the one that I was talking to your dad about this one, that shoot off, the last bullet? How did you do that?
Oh, the Migz reload.
The Migz reload.
We call it
Okay,
the
come
Migz
on.
reload.
Okay,
That's
I
what
know.
we're gonna start
I love to
calling it.
learn that. Okay, guys, excuse me. I know shoot off is good, but what's the Migz reload?
So that's something that's been in the making since 2022.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
So my very first shoot off,
Yeah.
I started doing that. I don't know why, but it kind of just formed into its own thing.
Okay.
So you have the rifle, you're shooting, right?
Okay.
And I do it usually when there's only 2 or like less than 3 shots. No, less than 2 shots rather,
Okay.
actually left, because it's steel. Right?
Okay.
You only need 1 shot to knock that steel down.
Yeah.
So, bomb, I reload, and I just keep it there. And I make sure my grip is firm, so when it's slammed into the rifle, my dot's there, it's settled. Bing.
I couldn't even imagine what you're talking about, but sounds so good. So, guys, Migz reload.
Yeah, it's
Wow,
a
that's
challenging process.
yeah,
But
And
you
a
have
lot
to
of confidence
practice
too.
Yeah,
And a
because
lot of
once
confidence.
if you do it wrong, the
Yeah.
gun will go up.
Exactly. That's what I'm
Right,
saying.
and your
Wow.
sight's
Yeah.
all off.
So
you know?
I kind of did that because it saved me at least half a second,
Yeah.
not putting my hand back onto the handguard.
The handguard, yeah. That's why I was saying when I saw that. Hey, there's something different with that shoot off, but that's good. So I know shoot off could be a memorable, time in that competition. But off the range, what's most memorable? You were saying about a lot of dinners. Sorry about that. I was just taken. My attention was taken by that Migz reload. Okay, so off the range, a lot of dinners.
A lot of dinners,
Yeah.
but not only that, but me and Dad would also walk around because we
okay.
were located in essentially the square
Yeah.
of Znojmo,
Okay.
and our hotel was literally everything was walking distance, other than the ranges, of course.
Okay.
But whether we wanted to do we went to about 5, maybe 4 cafes,
Yeah.
and
We drink.
we drank
we
like
drink coffee
2
twice a day.
cappuccinos a day, at least.
No, I think overall it's just going to Europe with, for me, it's going to Europe with my son and
that's
just
bonding.
It's
unbreakable. Man.
it's
Wow.
it's an opportunity that I wouldn't pass. Especially, I think that I was lucky enough that the world shoot aligned on my
on your birthday as well. That's right.
But just going to Europe as a whole,
Yeah.
with him and just experiencing Czech Republic.
Yeah, it made the trip a lot more memorable
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
what it was
Definitely.
already is.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, so it's gonna be different if you're with me, All right, so we're going towards the last part of our show. I really thank you, me and Dad for being here in the show.
Thanks for thanks for having me.
Definitely.
Yeah, this was super fun.
After this, no, not after this. After the shoot, not because of Bullet Point, but more followers for you. What do you think? I'm not just pertaining to girls. Oh, sorry. More followers, or maybe sponsors, or interview requests like what we're having right now.
I would say that a lot of more like interviews. That'd be
In line.
in line.
That's good.
But his followers jumped up.
Followers did.
He's
actually
trying to evade it because the girls are starting to follow. You tell them I'm still young.
I was actually, funny enough, I broke 1,000 followers before we left Czech. So,
Wow.
yeah, that's
what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Value, right?
Yeah,
Followers.
it's organic.
Yeah, that was-
organic.
that was pretty cool.
Not the fake
Okay.
ones.
no
Yeah, that's
buy,
right.
yeah, no
you can
buy
buy him.
followers.
You can buy him.
Oh, could you?
Yeah, you
Let
can
me buy
him.
mine. 'Cause all right.
Mine's all bought.
Oh my God! But yeah, that's a good thing. That's a very positive thing, So what's next, Dad? What's next, right?
Well-
What's next? What do you think?
I think obviously we're back here, but definitely looking forward to nationals.
Yep,
race
that's in,
gun 4.5
nationals,
months.
I believe.
We
Area
got
2.
plenty of time to prepare for it.
Any new goals for when's the next world shoot? Definitely when the next world shoot comes. You're not going to be junior anymore.
I will not.
No,
Yeah.
no.
I'll rumors is that, or I don't know if it's rumors or not, but 4 years.
4 years.
3 to 4 years.
3 to
Okay.
4 years.
So
That's kind of with the time.
They'll announce it the next one during the South Africa
handgun world
shoot,
Okay.
which will be in September, I believe.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but for this year, goals will be try to win nationals in
Yep.
area 2.
Okay.
For sure.
Yep.
Those are the last big 2 matches.
The 2
For the
biggest
year.
matches of the year.
Yeah, and then Extreme Euro.
Extreme Euro is definitely on our
Extreme
list.
USA
Extreme, USA
in January.
I believe,
Okay.
yeah.
And then
A lot to work on, but
Yep.
definitely. But is this nationals area 2? Those are two
those are
events,
big
right?
ones.
Big ones,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Biggest
So
matches of the year, I'd say.
you at 15 years old, I'm looking at you, but I'm not looking at you like a 15-year-old. Okay, you know what I mean there.
Yeah.
But for young shooters out there who dreams to be like you, so I have to really put it out there because
Yeah.
you're 15, you have the title on your belt, the youngest shooter, USPSA Grandmaster, all of this stuff. What's your advice?
I'd say the advice would be if let's say your dad is the coach, or essentially the coach or your cornerman, I'd say always listen to him.
Okay.
Because he's the one who's really puts in the effort. Like for example, Dad would there's countless hours where he would be studying my footage of the match and being like, he'd bring this up, be like, hey, why'd your foot go, why'd you have your position this way when you should be facing this target? And it's really the little things like that that kept building and building on, getting polished and getting better because of all of that studying.
That's a good one.
So while I'm shooting, it's as if my success is his.
That's a good one too. Perfect. I love it. You know.
Yeah. So
shout out to Dad wherever he is. Oh, Dad is here.
He's right here. He's right here.
Send your video so I can analyze it.
Guys, send the video. You know, that's the analytics that's going to come out there is a world shoot champ.
You know, it's important to his point. You know, and I'm speaking not just in the shooting community, but if you do have a son or a daughter or both of them in sports, you just have to listen to what they really want to do. And the communication,
very important.
You know, and this is me, you know, giving advice as a father, and not just a spectator of the sport, right? Oftentimes we see a lot of parents put their their kids into sports and just because and there's no heart into it.
The passion,
they don't want it.
They don't want it. Or they're being pushed by their parents to do something else.
That's important, huh?
So whatever it is, right? Whether it's in music or sports, right? Or any other endeavor, you just have to listen to your kids and make sure you communicate in your household, which is very important.
That's a good one.
You know, so you know, it's a fun, organic thing to see how it becomes, it turns to life and achievements and all that stuff.
Because
super fun
from
watch.
that you said, the passion comes out,
right?
You know, and then you support that passion. This is the result. You know, that's great.
Because adding on to that, it took about like 2 or maybe 3 matches before I really thought about what I wanted to do with shooting.
The realization comes out there.
If it was just cut off to 2 matches, I wouldn't be here right now at all. I wouldn't be sitting here.
The third made the difference.
Right.
You know?
The third can always make a difference.
Right.
Exactly.
So to you and I perspective, you and I shoot every single week as best as we can. We see a lot of shooters, right? New shooters will be like, oh, we'll see if he lasts, right? Or you bring somebody out and they bring their kids or whatnot. Again, the question is, we'll see if he's going to last. You know, the 5th or the 6th time, the 7th time, if you really want to do this.
Show out there.
Same thing with other sports, right?
Yeah,
you know,
that's right. Onto the last question. Who do you look up? Who do you look up to in the shooting world, or any mentors that you'd like to shout out?
So, of course, my dad. But that's always a granted one. But not only that, but people inside the shooting community who mean a lot to me. Whether it was I would idolize them, study their videos, just to name off a few. Of course, Max Leograndis.
Of course,
he was always one of the most the number one motivator. Whenever I look at his videos, I try to study, I try to mimic it. There's also shooters, Justine Williams, of course.
Yeah, she did a great job there.
Huh?
She made history there.
Yeah, amazing finish, and also broke the boundary of being, I believe, first woman in the overall team ever.
Wow.
So huge props to her. I'd also say shooters up in California as well. Duncan Klein is another big one. He's a big supporter of mine. I'm a big supporter of him. And plenty of other shooters. I could sit down here and name them all day.
The good thing about those that he named, even though a lot of people might get starstruck to them.
Yeah.
They're so approachable, and they
super friendly.
and they take time out of their day to kind of give a
Like have a conversation
or two, or give advice or two for Migz to accomplish whatever he needs to accomplish.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Shout out to those people, and definitely, congratulations once again, Migz, for not just taking part of World Shoot, but winning World Shoot, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah, we're
congratulations.
all so proud. Super
We're
proud.
all so proud,
Yeah.
and we just can't wait to see what's next into your achievement. But believe this, we are all going to be supporting you.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
All right, partner. I think that's
Yes.
a wrap for us today.
Absolutely.
Shooters, if you're digging the content that we're talking about every now and then, lock and load, and like that button, and subscribe, and smash the bell so you're always in the loop. So, see you in the next episode.